Ladies and gentlemen, Clay community, welcome. Tap in. In today's video, what we are going to talk about are the badge tiers specifically for shooting. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to break this up into two separate videos. First video that we're going to talk about in this one is going to be the badges that you need if you're going to be running as a primary ball handler, as a hash, whatever the case may be. The ones who typically shoot the most shots on your team. So for your point guards, for your shooting guards, or for your main ball handlers, and for your secondary hashes and stuff. All right, so this is going to be these guys. So I'm going to rank them in honestly 5 different categories. The S tier, which are the most important ones to have, tier 1, tier 2, useless badges, and then the ones that are better on bronze. So we're gonna work through those rankings and we're gonna kind of talk through them. We're gonna kind of work through the list. But let's go ahead and jump on into it, okay? Yeah, so the first badge I'm gonna use, I'm gonna put Agent 3. I'm gonna just basically go in the order that it's in. So I'm gonna put Agent 3 as an S tier badge. For those of you guys who might remember in NBA 2K22, Stop and Pop, which was a badge that helped you whenever it gave you a boost every time you would stop with the basketball off the dribble and then pop the basketball. Stop and Pop and also Circus 3s are combined into one badge, and that's your Agent 3. That is a must-have S tier badge for you. You want to run that as high as you possibly can. Most people will run that on a gold, because most people who have those kind of main shooting builds will rock at least a 92 3-ball, which will give you that Agent 3 at least on a gold. So the second one that you want to rock, I wouldn't call this an S tier badge because I think you can get away with this on gold. So I'm actually going to put this one on tier 1. This is the Amped badge. So for you guys who don't know what Amped is, Amped badge is essentially a badge that helps you be able to shoot better when your player is fatigued. So you got to remember in NBA 2K23, a large part of your stamina boost is really going to be hit. So you're trying to figure out how you're going to be able to get your shot, and the lower your stamina is, oftentimes the lower or the slower your shot's going to be. So it's going to be harder for you to time those things. I think it's a great gold badge. I think it's an even better Hall of Fame badge, but I'm going to put that one as a tier 1. And for most of your primary ball handlers and secondary ball handlers, they can get this typically in a tier 1 badge. So you can typically get this with 3 to 4 shooting badges to get either a gold or a Hall of Fame. So for blinders, I'm going to put blinders as a tier 2 badge. Those of you guys who may not know what blinders is, blinders essentially helps you whenever you're getting contests from your left and for your right. So if you're getting contests from your left and for your right, blinders is supposed to help with that. It's been nerfed from what a lot of my buddies talk to me about from 22 to 23. So I think it's helpful to have, but normally in order to activate blinders at the position that you're at, you're gonna be talking about a tier 3 badge, which means at minimum, you're putting 5, 6, 7 badge points after you spent 10 already in your tier 1, tier 2. So I personally think that there's a better badge to run other than blinders, but if you run it, I don't think it's a bad thing to have it on. You're gonna need a bunch of shooting badges to be able to make it work well. I put it tier 2, that's why I didn't want to put it as useless, but most of your tier 3 badges that you get as a primary ball handler in particular, your tier 3s are typically gonna be like your Limitless Range, your blinders, your Deadeye, and your Agent 3. Those will be your 4, typically for a primary ball handler, those will be your 4 tier 3 badges. If I had to rank those 4 in the order of importance, I would put blinders as the last important one. All right, so for the 4th badge that we're gonna talk about, it's catch and shoot. Now, people are gonna disagree with me on this. You're totally fine to disagree with me on this. If you're a primary ball handler, I am going to put this as a tier 2 badge. Here's why I say this. Most of your shots as a primary ball handler are not gonna come off of you catching the ball and shooting it. It's gonna be off the dribble. The only time I see this as valuable for you is if you're standing as the hash and you need that catch and shoot. If that's who you are and you're a deep hash shooter, I would say this is a tier 1 badge. But if you're not and you're the primary ball handler, I'm gonna put this as a tier 2 badge. Great badge to have. If you have the badge points to use them, absolutely use them. But I'm not gonna put that as a very high badge. So the 5th one we're gonna talk about is Claymore. Claymore is a new badge in 23. This badge was designed to essentially help boost your ability to knock down shots the longer you stand stationary. So if you stand stationary for a certain amount of time, you get a boost to your ability to knock down that shot. Now think about this. We're talking about primary ball handlers and secondary ball handlers. Now, if you play as the primary ball handler, how many times are you going to be standing there waiting for the pass to shoot the ball? Nothing at all. But if you're the secondary ball handler, you're off in the hash, you're standing deep hash to be able to get some of those shots. Again, this falls into the category of the catch and shoot. If you're the primary, this is a tier 2 badge. If you're the secondary, this is a tier 1 badge. So I'm going to put this right here in the tier 2 badge. We're largely talking about the main ball handlers. All right, clutch shooter. Now, clutch shooter is a badge that gives you a boost towards the end of a game to be able to knock down shots. I'm not gonna call this badge useless, but if you do have the ability to put it on because you just got 1 extra badge point to use, I'm gonna put this as a better on bronze. Comeback Kid. I feel like this badge is an ego badge. So Comeback Kid is a badge that basically helps you whenever you're down, be able to knock down shots. So Comeback Kid is a good badge if you got a team that's typically losing, but if you're not losing, you just wasted badge points, right? So it's like you're banking on an instance where you're expecting to be losing and you're expecting to be taking more shots to do those things. So I personally am of the opinion, I think that this is a useless badge. I would never rock this badge, so I'm gonna put this in the useless category. Okay, so for the 8th badge that we're talking about Corner Specialist. This is a badge that is super OP, but I wouldn't personally use this as a primary or a secondary because most of your shots come hash to hash, mid-range, or in the paint. You rarely take corner shots. So I personally don't think this is an S tier, tier 1, or even tier 2 badge for my primary or for my secondary, because the only time you take corner shots is out either from a kick out from a rebound or if there's a design play to get you into the corner, or even on the fast break transition. So personally, what I would do is I would put this specific badge as a better on bronze. It's a great badge to use. If you just have one extra badge point, you can put it on bronze and that will help give you a boost in those instances. But definitely as a primary and secondary, not worth spending a bunch of badge points on. So the next one's gonna be Deadeye. I personally am a huge fan of Deadeye. Deadeye is essentially a badge, and I'm gonna put it in a tier 1 category. Deadeye basically reduces the amount of a contest when somebody is challenging your shot from in front of you. If they're jumping in front of you to contest your shot, that's when Deadeye activates. So I'm gonna put this as a tier 1 of importance because I think that this badge is very helpful for you to use. The next one is Green Machine. Green Machine is a very good badge. I actually am very biased towards Green Machine. I think Green Machine, I would rock Green Machine higher if I had more shooting badges. I would personally rock it gold if I could. I think it's a very underrated badge. So I'm gonna put this this specific one, Green Machine, as a tier 2. You can rock it on a bronze, but if you chose to rock it on a silver or a gold because again, you're taking all of those shots, I definitely don't think that would be a bad decision. I've seen a lot of good fruit from rocking on a Green Machine that's higher than on a bronze, but you could rock it bronze, silver, and gold, and I think you would be just fine. Green Machine essentially gives you a boost when you consecutively hit green shots whenever you're taking your jump shot. Thing about NBA 2K23 is you can't hit a jump shot unless it's a green. So if you're hitting back-to-backs, you're getting an additional boost for excellent releases. That's why I would put this one as a tier 2 badge. I think it is a good badge to have. So Guard Up is the next badge. I would put Guard Up as an S tier badge. But coach, why would you run Guard Up as an S tier badge? I'm so glad you asked me that. Guard Up is the poor man's version of Deadeye. So Guard Up essentially gives you a boost when you take a shot with the defender on you who does not have his hands up. So this normally for most primary and most secondaries comes in a tier 1 badge format, which means if you have 4 badge points, you can put this bad boy on Hall of Fame, which in order for you to put this as a Hall of Fame, you need either an 86 mid-range or a 93-point shot. I think this is a very good badge to run, and it's cheap. It's the poor man's version of Deadeye. This is easier to get than Deadeye, but if you rock both of these badges, your contest will be very minimal. Limitless Range, very, very OP badge for a primary and for a secondary. The Limitless Range essentially extends your ability to shoot 3-point shots beyond the 3-point line. The Limitless Range is a very good badge to run. The higher you can run it, better, especially if you're a primary, and it's fairly easy to activate. If you're at least 4 to 5 feet behind the 3-point line, at silver, it kicks in. At gold, it kicks in. At Hall of Fame, you're darn near standing at the logo and it activates. It's almost like the equivalent of NBA 2K22 when you activated sharp takes. This is what Limitless is. Very good badge to rock. I would put this one in an S tier category if you can get that on. Now keep this in mind. We are talking about primary ball handlers and secondary ball handlers. Here's what I would do. So for Midi Magician, unless you're running part where you intend to take a bunch of mid-range shots, as a primary and a secondary ball handler, and this is largely for the language is clearly intended for people who run predominantly 5s. I don't know of many point guards or hashes that take mid-range shots. So I don't want to call this badge useless, but it kind of is. Because you're not going to dump 4 badge points on Midi Magician because most people don't really use Midi Magician as a point guard or as a shooting guard. So I'm actually gonna, I hate to do this, man, because I hate calling badges useless, because I know in the right hands, this could be the right badge for you. If you make a point guard build that's really tall, he's a heavy finisher, and you put some shooting on him and it's mainly mid-range, Midi Magician would be great for you. 95% of point guards do not do that. So as a result, I'm gonna put this as a useless badge in the useless badge category. The next one is Slippery Off Ball. However many years Slippery Off Ball has been available on 2K. Found this to be one of the most useless badges, especially for a point guard and a hash. This is, I don't even need to explain this. I've literally, if you run Slippery Off Ball, this badge is horrible. Do not put this on if you're a primary or if you're a secondary. That is a useless badge for you. period. The second to last one we're gonna talk about is the Space Creator badge. Now, if you are rocking the Space Creator badge, this is the only play style where it's valuable. If you look for intentionally trying to find step back jump shots, if you do that snatch back where you do the little step back to take that jump shot and you're looking for a lot of space, this is a tier 1 badge for you. Some would even argue is an S tier badge. I personally don't have that game style or gameplay, but for me, it's more of a tier 2 badge. So I'll meet people in the middle because I know some folks who swear by it and will hoff this every single season, every single year. And I know other people who say silver max. So I'll put this one as a tier 1 badge with the caveat of it depends on how you hunt for your shots. You hunt for your shots in a way in which that utilizes Space Creator. This is a very OP badge. You can get a lot of great animations from it, a lot of separation from it, get a couple of you can get a couple of ankle breaking instances with these. And if you combine this with the ankle breaking badge, very powerful. The last one is Volume Shooter. Volume Shooter is another badge that me personally, I'm very much in the minority when it comes to this in the 2K community. I actually love Volume Shooter. However, I think in 23, I would put this badge more so in the category of a better on bronze badge. You're gonna take a lot of shots, so it's not useless, but you don't wanna spend all of a bunch of badge points on Volume Shooter. So I would put this one on a better on bronze badge, and this will be our list. So if you are a primary ball handler, if you are a secondary ball handler, this is your list. I hope this was helpful for you guys. If you guys found this information as valuable, please do me a major favor. Don't forget to hit the like button on this video. Trying to see if we can break 100 on it. And if you guys want to be tapped in with everything NBA 2K23 tips and tricks, make sure you do me a favor and hit that sub button and let me know down below what other video and kind of content would be helpful for you as an NBA 2K player. Thank you guys so much for tapping in. I'll see you guys on the next video. Y'all take it easy, man. Peace.